I can't even smell
Source
this.
Hunters, I welcome you once again to the realm of Rivellon after your travels through the chasms of space. Nice to have found a shelter, wouldn't you agree? Where you can come to no harm. I know the imp historian has told you about his agent on Rivellon, and that agent is I. So now that you know of the alliance between me and Sir Zigzax, let us turn to the business at hand. Starstone.
You're over this
Steady,
rock.
boys, steady. We'll be leaving as soon as we're packed up.
And I'll be delighted to give it. Dark webs are being woven around these parts, and it is my firm belief starstones are the flies the sorcerer's spiders are trying to catch. It can therefore hardly be a coincidence that Councillor Jake was a collector of the stones we seek. His foul murder and the plight of dying time must somehow be interconnected.
Robbed.
That means the task you have been given remains crucial. Find the assassin that did away with Jake, for you're bound to stumble upon Starstone along the way. While you were being lectured by our friend the historian and the grande dame of time, I snuck into his house and had a look around. The advantage of being a cat, you know. You go where you please with impunity. And sometimes the lady of the house even rewards you with a slice of fresh herring. That's where I saw them in a cabinet. Mere slivers, but specks of starstones nonetheless. They lay there, silent and innocent, though bloody murder may have been committed in their name. Don't we all long for a sanctuary where our worldly troubles can be held at bay? A bed or a basket so snug it becomes, in a word, safety. But perhaps I speak only for myself, not for veterans such as yourselves that by necessity call any patch of ground they rest upon home. Like any cat worth its salt, though, I deeply cherish a secret refuge unbeknownst to anyone. To be able to repose without a care is such a precious circumstance, saved all too seldomly. Let me phrase it like Zigzax might. A universe without time is like a pen without ink. A pointless instrument stripped of the potential of creation. It is void. It is death. It is nothing. I'll not pretend to have all the answers, or that I understand all that is happening here and out there among the stars, but I do know I'd rather err on the side of caution. If Zigzax worries, I worry. We are talking about a creature, after all, that has reclined among the divines as nonchalantly as you and I laze beside the hearths of home. I met him first, a long time ago, out in the wastes of Youthful Gore. He wondered aloud what on earth a cat was doing out there in the scorching desert, then shared what little food and water he had with him.
We'll be leaving as soon
So
as
I told him who I was and showed him my human form. He laughed and marveled and told me stories about his travels. In the end, he even shared his great sorrow with me. The unspeakable thing you saw through his looking lens. I was awed and frightened, but swore to help him in any way I could. As of now, that includes helping the two of you. Oh, before you go, here, take this teleporter pyramid. A handy toy indeed that Zigzax asked me to give to you.
Fish in the sea, but I've got the foulest of the lot on my racks.
You'll need the other one too if you want to make use of its powers, but alas, I seem to have misplaced it. Don't worry though. Use this one here and it'll take you straight to its twin.
foulest of the lot on my racks.
Now that this matter has been settled, hunters, I shall detain you no longer. But rest assured, I'll do my share of hunting too. So if you spot a white cat during your travels, do stop to say hello.
Plenty of fish in the sea, but I've got the foulest of the lot on my racks.
Don't know what you said to upset Bull, but don't worry about it too much. Being in tune with the flow of time takes a lot out of him. Oh, me and my brother Bull have...
That's all for today. Bull's tired now.
Got the foulest of the lot on my racks.
Unknown to all time, are you? Leave it to an imp to try to fill our minds with all manner of magical gobbledygook. I'll tell you who you are. Source hunters, members of the most esteemed order in Rivellon. Here to find out and grind out every last speck of dark magic in the realm. There, the enigma is solved.
If I don't start earning an extra gold piece now, I'll walk
Plenty
out
of
the
fish
door.
in the sea, but I've got the foulest of the lot on my racks.
So what did he say?
Well, what does it matter?
A struggle? What kind of struggle?
The signs
Yes, honest
are
pay for an
unclear.
honest day.
Tell me, have you felt Draconis Major interfering with your moon phase in the past fortnight?
Yes, I'm sure of it. Tell it to mind its own business.
Ah, there's that famous Scorpius temper of yours.
Steady, boys, steady. We'll be leaving as soon as we're packed up.
What are you? You think I'm... No, comrade. You can keep the honor of being the object of the Space Imp special interest all to yourself. I just hope this fancy of yours doesn't interfere with your real job, or have you forgotten that little detail already? You're a source hunter first, last, and always, comrade.
Honest pay for an honest
I
day.
can't even smell the sea air over this rock.
Oh, and don't forget the time he got caught passing a love note to the Lizard Councillor's wife.
Is that why we...
Have you found us a job yet? We'll take anything, really.
Speaking of youthful jaw, that
The
looks...
Fabulous Five, eh? That sounds like just the right opportunity for three brawny buccaneers like us. We'll go right away, thanks.
took the Duchess of Feddle's carriage for the joyride.
No, he didn't. He drove it straight to the pub and back.
Oh, and don't forget the time he got caught passing a love note to the Lizard Councillor's wife.
I can't even smell the sea air over this rock.
Say, no one's around. You wouldn't raise a fuss if I, borrowed one of these fish, would you?
Borrow, indeed. I'll sooner meet a cat wizard than see that merchant repaid.
No better solution to the zombie problem.
Come now, I'll be good for it, I swear! Oh, my story's tired by now. I was happy enough, prosperous enough, before these lean times around Sicil began. Still, that doesn't waive a man's need to eat, you know. I never would have dreamt of resorting to petty theft during better times, but what choice have I got now? If it's steal or starve, I'll choose steal. So what do you think? Should I snag a fish?
I'm sure this one little fish won't starve the merchant. He should take the fish.
Heavenly herring! Delicious dogfish! Yours for a scrap of gold each!
Let's see. Halibut, sheep's cheese, tomatoes.
Whether the merchant loses a fish or this man goes hungry, someone will suffer in this equation. We might as well help the man in the most dire need.
Watch the undead quiver in their mouldy boots.
No, we'll do as I say.
I suppose you've got a point. Another day, another rumbling belly. Never fed a hungry man, you know.
Toe of snake, wing of worm, brew 'em, spice 'em, stir and churn.
Assure me, dear Septimus, that you haven't been fighting those awful orcs. I can't bear to imagine something.
The hunter returns. I hope you are here to shop rather than sleuth.
Starstone? I've never heard of such a thing. Dear Jake had a mineral collection, yes. As far as I knew, it was one of his pastimes, nothing more. Do you mean to imply he collected something dangerous? Something that may have gotten him into trouble? Oh, this is all too much. I feel like I'm drifting from nightmare into nightmare.
Legion's greetings, Hunter. And what questions are those?
The hunter returns. I hope you are here to shop rather than sleuth.
Starstone? I've never heard of such a thing. Dear Jake had a mineral collection, yes. As far as I knew, it was one of his pastimes, nothing more. Do you mean to imply he collected something dangerous? Something that may have gotten him into trouble? Oh, this is all too...
Hey, stop that!
Assure me, dear Septimus, that you haven't been fighting those awful orcs. I can't bear to imagine something would happen to you.
Oh, but don't you worry, lady. We Legionnaires are highly trained soldiers.
Another one for the collection.
Have some pity.
Welcome back to Seal Hunter. The Legion greets you.
Those bunks in Barry's a bridge throw. Get the shining recruit.
Sorry, sir.
Oh, what now?
Source Hunter, welcome, welcome. By all means. Of course. I hope your investigation fares well. I can't say much more, but that they're madmen. All the more dangerous.
Fortune!
Attention! About face! To the barracks, march! Recruits, that was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again! Those boots are in Barry's at Bridge Road. Get the shining recruits.
Sorry, sir.
You think that's
Sorry,
funny,
sir.
Private?
Sir, no, sir.
Those boots are in Barry's at Bridge Road. Get the shining recruits.
Sorry, sir.
You think that's funny, Private?
Sir, no, sir.
Attention! About face! To the buttocks! Notch! Recruits! That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again!
Sorry, sir.
You think that's funny, Private?
Sir, no, sir.
Attention! About face! To the buttocks! Notch! Recruits! That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again! Don't embarrass a rich folk. Get the shining recruit.
Sorry, sir.
Attention! About face! To the buttocks! Notch! Recruits! That was sloppier than Sicilian...
My gods! What is going on here? First I have to shoo away a creeping white tomcat, and now there's a perfect stranger in my bathroom. Get out, will you?
Little mix-up indeed. I don't know what you and that horrible little imp are planning, but leave my bathroom out of it.
Well, that's what you get for trying.
Out! No!
If she
you
soaks in
please!
flower stink much
This
longer,
room is
deer will
private.
smell this lady from a field away. I'll save a leg of something good for when she begins to starve.
All right, comrades.
Don't
nothing to
just
see.
stand there.
Let's clear
Go.
out. Give the lady of the house
Away
a little
with you.
prize.
Striking it rich!
What are you still doing here? Begone!
Pay the big cheese on your block with a whale and a good Aaron has as many friends as the man with many cheeses. Not in the mood for cheese. Their excuse is more holes than a slice of this fine Norman bear. Be the big cheese on your block with a wheel of the good stuff.
Red and orange, yellow and green, the finest veggies size seals ever seen.
Aaron has as many friends as the man with many cheeses.
Fresh haddock, perfect for a fryer.
Not in the mood for cheese. Their excuse is more holes than a slice of this fine.
I dare say.
I think I'll sleep by the fire tonight, once the regulars stagger home. Maxine, the mayor's darling pet. So gentle, so fair a feel. She likes me. I know she does. But when I declare my love, she backs away. I don't know why. I've serenaded her and braved many a bucket of water for my efforts. But for some reason, she is not to be swayed.
That purring sound. Mind control vibrations, I'm sure. Don't be seduced, comrades.
Oh, sorry, Medora. I didn't mean to frighten you.
Glorious to see you once more, fair friend. I hope you've given some thought to my revelation. I think only of your eternal soul, after all. Go on the path.
They say he's privy to.
He says he's an immaculate. But I thought they'd been banished after the death of the Source King.
Immaculate. Haven't heard of their kind, but I don't like the sound of them.
Ho-hum!
Let's see. Key, lockpick, or hammer?
Looking good.
Greetings, Source Hunter. I don't mean to hinder your investigation, but I can't open this door for anyone who hasn't received Captain Aureus' explicit approval. Ready to have another look?
Tell me, Alistair,
and arcane secrets, the likes of which I doubt you could even fathom, old friend. Come now, Alistair. Surely you've met your match once or twice.
Ha! The closest I've come to my match when I leave you over Longbow lighting my pipe.
Look, careful now. Your head's growing more swollen than saffrons, I dare say.
Let us see if you can do
I don't have the right tool for digging.
Here lies Catherine. I know, I was great.
Rest in peace, darling.
Looks like that dog is awfully agitated.
Perhaps he wants to tell us something.
Nemrys is the greatest philosopher in the land, you know. I'd give me left whiskers to be half as smart as him.
Feet, I think? To join the grass? To become food for the trees and flowers? What could be more peaceful?
I don't have the right tool.
Hey, wow! I was wondering where that awesome sweaty boot smell was coming from. And here you are. Wow! This is great! I'm Murphy, Jake's dog. Wow, you smell great! Have you been rolling around on dead things all day? That's my favourite hobby too. You know who I miss? Jake. Sometimes he'd just sit there being awesome. And I'd give him this look like, you smell great. And he'd give me this look like, you do too, Murphy. And he was my best friend. I came here so I could smell Jake again. He smelled great. But whatever's buried there doesn't smell like Jake at all. No, it's definitely not Jake. He was awesome. If I ever find out who killed Jake, the most awesome Jake who ever jaked, I'll bark so much! Seriously, so much! You have no idea! I smell rotten lamb chops.
Peace be with you, traveller. May your lost loved ones rest in peace. I once lived a prosperous life with my husband and our happy little daughter, Loney. But when the undead plague broke out, my dear husband was among the first killed. Loney never recovered from the loss. And when a group of mercenaries, predators, more aptly called, came to town dangling the opportunity to annihilate those undead devils, Loney lapped up their rhetoric and joined without so much as a backward glance. She was killed less than a week after she joined. Here she lies, and here I stand, mourning the death of my last joy.
In memory of Loney, death lies on her like an untimely frost
May
upon
the
the
seven
sweetest
keep
flower
you.
of all the field. Here lies Jake. Please do
May
not
the
disturb.
seven keep you.
I smell rotten lamb chops.
What trickery is this? That's not Jake.
It's a rotting sheep's corpse. It seems someone snatched Jake's body.
I smell
Rest in peace,
rotten
darling.
lamb chops. I smell rotten lamb chops.
Rest in peace, darling.
The force of Maxos is within me!
to resist this, worm.
Ramming speed.
What goes up must come down.
How dare
deliverance.
Behold the power of mages!
Your grave opens to welcome you!
Time of your death is at hand.
May the seven keep you.
Here lies Kimberly, finally. Here lies Jared. Shall I come back as an enraged spirit or a lovable prankster ghost?
The sun is out. I feel a cold inside my soul. Bathed in crux of years. Dear me. How the coast reminds me of my long flame. I sailed the seas. I walked the worlds. Oh, how nice it is of you. The very picture of youth, to break the monotony of an elder's day. Wild away on this hardwood bench. Pray, let me be forward with you. O sapling rose, O leaf of spring. For my weary mind is troubled, and would highly prize thy gentle-handed assistance, thy kind ministrations. I am but an aged elf that has seen the years parade in long succession. Gladly shall I tell you more. Will I regale thee, O whelp of men, with my tale? But not here, where the winds may steal my words. You would listen to my grievances, guide me towards untroubled realms. Oh, you are truly a wonder, oh budding flower of the morn. Yet That which I would tell you is of a rather private nature. So let us escape both the chill and the eye of public scrutiny. Hot spiced wine and a snug little room awaits us on the King Crab's first floor. Let us go there so that we can warm our bones, yet make shiver our hearts with a tale of loss and sorrow.
Join the Spud Club if you've got an eye for farm potatoes.
Get it while it's fresh. This batch is only hours from the sea.
Arcane secrets. The like of which I doubt you could even fathom, old friend. Come now, Alistair. Surely you've met your match one foot.
Ah, you have come. Yes, that is most satisfactory. Begone, brittle mask of age. Hear me now repeat the words of Brittletooth, the child snatcher of Carador. Come, play with me, for I'm hungry. Come, my name is Eglandir Twil Salanar, elf of the house of Gandavum, the slaughtered house of Gandavum. But by the twin blades of the Shadow Vixen, I shall have my revenge. The walls of memory are stained with blood, and I would see them bloodier still. The game, yes! A game of blood and brutality, of death and dexterity. Fun as herring the horror harlequin. But, like the serpentine stalker hisses before the stab, hush now, darkness, darling, hush, hush, and listen to my tale. The elves of Gandavum, they lived in peace, oh yes, but one night, when the moon had hid her face, the orcs of the tribe of Kazuldagar beset our city. They cooked and ate and burned every last one of us. The light of dawn never saw an elf of Gandavum no more. All undone, every last one of us, except for me, the midnight rambler, away from the city. I was very old back then already, though indeed I whisper of many years hence. But death shall not find me. Oh no, not until every beast of Kazuldagar has been bled. I may be frail, a withered grey, but the wealth of kings is mine. Countless assassins have ministered to the vengeance that is my want, and now is almost over. By Kala, lady of the last gaze, I swear it is almost done. Only the very last one of the Kazaldagar still eludes me. The crowning kill that would seal its fate and mine alike. I have tracked her down. By the curse of the spine spear I have. She does not know her ill-shapen sun is setting fast. Color the dusk red, O sword of youth. Bloody the day with the bramble sap that runs through the veins of Victoria. Bring me the amulet that clings to her flesh, soon to fade. And yours shall be the bounty of vindication. Mine shall be its sanguine satisfaction after long, long last. Yes, Victoria. She is the one whose heart must be held in hand, the heart around which the fingers of that hand must clench and tighten until its choking flesh bulges with blood and its beat slowly breaks. The orcs of Gazuldagar, they knew my name. Oh yes, by the bite of the roving rattler, they knew my design. And so they sought to save their last, an infant, she who was to be queen. To no avail, oh no. Years, how many I know not. Years I searched, and now her name is that of a woman, her employment that of a civilized being. But by the fork of Barbara Man-Eater, she is nothing but an orc, a cyst of nature, one of a misbegotten litter dragged into life from the tumoured womb of a filthy, coarse-haired beast that was humped like a dog in the darkness of a stinking hollow. Victoria, librarian, daughter, adopted child of Cecil, Mayor of Sicile. There is bloodlust in you. I can feel it. Let it out. Set it free. Undo the last of the Kazuldagar. By the breasts of Sishara Goatsuckler, give me my revenge! By the filed teeth of Sulumar Soul Shredder, the end is nigh. Death comes a-creeping for you, Victoria! The hunters go a-stalking in the night. By the needles of the million bleeder, they'll end it all in blood!
Fastened tighter than the treasury.
With many cheeses.
Watch the undead quiver in their mouldy boots.
Not in the mood for cheese. Their excuse is more holes than a slice of this fine Gorman bear.
Ain't right, ain't true.
tomatoes.
Aaron has as many friends as the man with many cheeses. Pay the big cheese on your book for the wheel of the...
But if one were to reduce the quantity of skull dust by a percentage of 2, perhaps the stability could be... Oh, a source hunter. Imagine that. Quite a bit more petite than the last of your kind I encountered, aren't you? Yes, by nearly 20 centimetres of tibia, as my memory serves. But, no matter. Even if it couldn't spare its heartiest specimen, I'm sure the Order sent the individual with the next highest probability of success. Me? Why, I'm more than a little surprised you haven't heard of me. Perhaps I can jog your memory. It was I who cured the Duchess of Arata of her unslakable thirst, a simple pinch of Atropa belladonna in her morning tea. I who discovered that aging itself can be halted by a single application of Cicuta Douglasii on the tongue. Not to mention that it's been my guidance that has permitted my apprentice Evelyn to make quite a name for herself around Sicile of late.
Anybody? Neither of you cares to plead for his very existence.
Yes. If that's how we're referring to the secretive use of a revolutionary healing method she refuses to share with her own master. She's in the other room as we speak. Perhaps you can prevail upon... She's gotten hold of a stone, supposedly capable of fantastic feats of healing, but she won't let me take the briefest look at it. But she claims to have gotten the relic from a little northern town, Silverglen by name, and that an abbot there blessed it with the power to heal.
Neither of you cares to plead for his very existence.
Utter rubbish, I say. But with these blasted undead haunting the travel routes, I can hardly march up to Silverglen to learn the truth myself.
Anybody? Neither
Well,
of you
she
cares.
certainly possesses a critical eye and an exacting manner when it comes to making difficult medical decisions. I expect she'll be a very successful healer in her own right when the time comes. She is learning from the best, after all. Certainly, what would you like to know? The counsellor. Terrible loss, that. Though we were hardly more than acquaintances, I knew him to be a devoted civil servant. From what I can tell, it seems to be a simple case of jealousy turned violent. The affairs of his wife, Esmeralda, were hardly a secret, you know. I've applied myself to that problem for 2 years and still haven't come a step closer to solving it. I declare it an act of the Almighty's, if I believed in such things. Some events, Source Hunter, can be neither controlled nor understood by mere men.
Healing stone? Interesting indeed.
Nothing sets me on edge like inexplicable magic. Anybody? Neither of you cares to plead for his very existence? Excuse me? This is a private sick room. Who in the name of the Seven do you think you are barging in here? Out, I say, right this instant. I'm sorry. It's this task. I'm just... Who am I to meddle with life and death this way? I'm an apprentice of the healing arts. Healing! But this decision feels like precisely the opposite. I have but one healing stone, you see, and 2 direly wounded men who need it. I've been racking my brain trying to decide on the best method to settle this grave situation, but perhaps it's better off in the hands of an esteemed source hunter. Surely you are more accustomed to weighing life and death than I. What would you like to know? One of the brave few willing to traverse the trade routes plagued by the undead. A young man, but excellent in matters of business, before he fell victim to an orcish club in the north, that is. Thankfully for him, a cattle trader found him, nearly dead, but not quite so, and brought him here straight away. Quite the venerable staple of Seal, Stephen, and recently blessed with his third grandchild. He was leading a crew of builders when a stray beam struck him in the temple, and only a few days shy of his last day of work before retirement, no less. Nearly everyone in Seal is familiar with grinning Stephen, and, as you can imagine, he's quite dear to his family. Yes, a curious relic indeed. I got it from a kindly abbot, Loic by name, in the northern town of Silver Glen. He is of a certain faith, the Immaculates they call themselves, that espouses the belief that certain stones can heal wounded flesh. I myself was nothing if not skeptical of his claims, but something happened as he handed me the stone. A small cut on my finger instantly healed, leaving no trace of the wound. Needless to say, I was astounded. But it's strange. The stone is only good for a single use at a time before it reverts to a useless, inert state. It takes time to regain its magical properties, and I guard it cautiously. You are? I thank you a million times for your help. Who have you decided should receive the healing stone? There's no way Boris should receive that stone over Stephen. Think of Stephen's wife, his children, his grandchildren.
So long for this world. What's taking Tenderfoot so long?
Stephen's death will hurt far more lives than Boris's will. Let's minimize the heartbreak of this terrible situation and save Stephen.
That tone, soothing a corpse's troubled mind, could have gone far.
No, we'll do as I say.
Boris it is? Yes, I'll deliver the stone. I'm glad we'll get to save one man, but my heart breaks for the other.
Thank
No,
the seven.
no, this is highly abnormal. What is this? This lightning?
That relic of Evelyn is the so-called healing crystal. I've seen one like it before, and by the Patriarch's pockets. It's a relic of Source. One look at that gem will be enough to convince me it's no force of good, but a bloodstone through and through. I know I'm not the most, circumspect sort of source hunter, but in this case, I feel we ought to tread carefully. Bloodstone is so named for a reason, you see. What starts as a pretty gem is corrupted by 6 sorcerers who infuse it with the blood of the slain. If that stone is what I suspect, I wouldn't trust Saciel's so-called healers any more than I trust a pyromancer on a wooden boat.
I feel no pleasure in bidding you farewell, friend.
Everything we do seems to fortify your abilities.
I feel no pleasure in bidding you farewell, friend.
I suppose your example has inspired me to reach heights I never before envisioned.
Sorry, friend. I wish there were enough stones for both of us.
That inspiration hardly flows one way, my friend.
I feel no pleasure in bidding you farewell, friend. Sorry, friend. I wish there were enough stones for both of us. I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I'm beyond grateful.
Thank you. Thank you eternally for your help. Though your reaction to the healing stone, I have no idea what to make of it.
I'm beyond...
That strange reaction you caused. Blue lightning from a healing stone. I've never seen anything like it. And the stone looks different now, too. Like it's devoid of life. I begin to wonder if its magical properties survived your little reaction.
Well, hello there.
Paid a big change on your book for the wheel of the good stuff.
Fresh haddock. Perfect for a fire.
On the move for cheese. There's inches more home than a slice of this fine almond there.
Toasty!
Greetings! These stalls are for our Legion troops. Riverland's finest work up mighty fine appetite serving the 7.
Don't let that rooster escape. He's already on the menu for tonight.
You'd make an even tastier roast than that chicken.
Greetings! These stalls are for our Legion troops. Rivellon's finest work up mighty fine appetite, serving the 7. Greetings! These stalls are for our Legion troops. Rivellon's finest work up mighty fine appetite, serving the 7. Greetings! These stalls are for our Legion troops. Rivellon's finest work up mighty fine appetite, serving the 7.
Right, we'll do it your way.
Well,
why did you let my chicken escape?
I need a moment to reflect.
Greetings! These stalls are for our Legion troops. Rivellon's finest work up mighty fine appetite, serving the 7.
What some call heartlessness, I call prudence, an admirable trait, and one I certainly admire in you.
Finest work up mighty fine appetite, serving the 7.
You let my chicken escape? Looks like it's your lucky day, Jack. Now to tell the troops they're getting nothing but the cornbread.
Well, Source Hunter, you come to the right place, you have. I got every style of equipment to fit you from head to foot, if it's a trade you're after.
These stalls are for our Legion troops. Rivellon's finest work up mighty fine appetite, serving the 7.
It's heating up.
I'm overheating
Know much
here.
about zombies, do you? How about...
It's heating up.
I wouldn't venture too far out of town if I were you. Many Legionnaires did so before you. Very few have returned. Ahu's invention, the stasis blaster. Quite a sight, no? The ray can singe a zombie or skeleton to ash in a matter of seconds. These days, we Legionnaires hold a lottery to see who gets to man the things. You can bet it's no small amount easier to blast those flesh-eating monstrosities from a distance than to get within striking range. Don't ask me how the blaster works, though. I just make sure the thing's hitting its targets.
Legs and run away? Ah, yeah.
Beyond these walls, the dead roam free, Hunter. Be vigilant.
Legionnaire, at your service.
Come now, Alistair. Surely you've met your match once or twice.
So, the wizard's crafted a device intended to keep the undead at bay, has he? Little did he expect we'd recognize the hulking source sapphire he's using to fuel it. Careful now, comrades, and tread lightly. There's no telling when that madman's doomsday device might gain sentience and turn its rays on us.
Does the ground turn to glue when you've been naughty around here?
The magical sort will do, but have no fear, comrades.
Missed!
my stave!
Wherever you go, there I am.
Wrath of the Magi!
May I be valiant as the lion of summer.
So, what's the bad news? More orcs rampaging through the docks? Or have those infernal statues sent another soul flying to his death? This here's my family business. Yes, there's been a Roberts escorting stiffs into the next life since the foundation of Cyseal itself. They don't write epics about morticians, but I'm proud of my work nonetheless. Sad story, that. Though if I'm speaking plainly, the sentimental aspect of it all doesn't make much of an impression on an undertaker. Especially not these days, with so many laid low by the orcs and such like. I just concern myself with giving the remains a respectable exit from life. We set him to rest in the northern graveyard. Perhaps he can finally get a little peace. A sheep? That's a whole heap of nonsense. Don't bother me with such wild tales. Why should I help those louts? Most of them would do anything to avoid paying a few extra gold pieces for a proper funeral. And anyway, I haven't got enough of that bloody business. If you're just going to bother me about finished matters, I'd consider it a favour if you'd leave me be.
The death man is nervous as a squirrel.
So, what's the bad news? More orcs rampaging through the docks? Or have those Enough of that bloody business. If you're just going to bother me about finished matters, I'd consider it a favour if you'd leave me be. That's enough!
Another one for the collection. Watch that gleam. Might need to blow this one open. There must be some way to open this. Might need to blow this one open.
I've spotted something interesting.
The earth here seems to have been freshly fertilized and aerated. Obviously, someone has taken great care to maintain this gravesite. Are you sure you want to disturb it?
That's right. Let's get digging.
As you prepare to break ground, you gaze at the dirt beneath your feet once more.
I say it's time we respect this sacred ground. I can help you exercise your urge to meddle with bodies in a more pleasurable way.
All right, we'll do it your way.
You step away from the grave.
I give milk. I give wool. And what do I get in return? One way or another, they always try to fleece me. Especially that Evelyn. She's out to get me. I know it. Meh.
Moo! Don't disturb Master Theliron now. He's been so busy with his research, the poor dear hasn't had a proper night's sleep in months.
This world. What's taking Tenderfoot so long? But... Oh, me? It was not. Yes. She's gotten up. She utter. Well, I sent the counsellor from what I declared.
Stone? Interesting indeed.
Nothing sets me on edge like inexplicable magic.
Excuse me? I've been... What would you like to... One of the brave few. Thankfully for him, quite the venerable state. Nearly everyone in Sicile is familiar. Yes, a curious... But it's strange. You are... Boris's life has just begun. We can't cut it short now. He should receive the stone.
Yes, Boris...
Boris it is? Yes. I'll deliver the...
That relic of Evelyn's, the so-called healing crystal. I've seen one like it before, and by the one look at that gem will be enough to convince me it's no force of... I've come across such a bloodstone. If that stone...
I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I'm beyond...
Everything we do seems to fortify your abilities.
Grave responsibility.
I suppose your example has inspired me to reach high...
That inspiration...
I don't know what I did to deserve this.
Thank you. Thank you eternally for your help. Though your reaction to the healing stone, I have no idea what to make of it. That strange reaction you caused. Blue lightning from a healing.
Oh,
I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I'm beyond
ruin this
grateful.
particular
I'm
batch.
feeling stronger already. 1,000 thanks to you, my hero. I promise I won't waste the life you've given me. What will I do? What won't I do? Seeing how short life can be, how easily it can be taken from you, I'll see it all, do it all. And after I've climbed every mountain in Rivalon and smooched every girl who'll have me, I'll devote myself to learning the magic that saved me. Everyone deserves to feel the thrill of a renewed life. I'll see you around then. I'm liable to spring out of this bed at any minute. I feel no
Can't
pleasure.
say I didn't want to live. Wanted it with every fiber of my heart. Not just for my own sake, but for my family, you know. Oh, my Matilda. Enjoy what remains of your life, will you? Never know when it'll be snatched out from under you.
Can't have gotten far.
Sorry, friend. I wish there were enough stones for both of
Soothing
us.
a corpse's troubled mind. Can't have gotten far.
Careful, comrades. I've seen
Never thought
saucers
I'd see Starseal.
of dark enchantments.
Nonsense, Venerable One. Those are only chickens. And plump, juicy ones at that.
And see the amazing singing Sice's only sentient severed head! Fantastic!
Today, I think, a king. The great Sigurd and
My
his
word.
rainbow of war machines.
Good day to you.
It is said, and this I have heard from a ghost who knew Elba, who knew Elliot,
Fantastic.
who is said to have known Sigurd himself, that the king had a great thirst for colour. So ardently did he crave creamy blues and gory reds, that he ordered a contest across his realm.
Fantastic!
Today, I think, a king. The great Sigurd and his rainbow of war machines. It is said, and this I have heard from a ghost who knew Elba, who knew Elliot, who is said to have known Sigurd himself, that the king had a great thirst for colour. So ardently did he crave creamy blues and gory reds, that he ordered a contest across his realm. Today, I think, a king. The great Sigurd and his rainbow of war machines. It is said, and this I have heard from a ghost who knew Elba, who knew Elliot, who is said to have known Sigurd himself, that the king had a great thirst for colour. So ardently did he crave creamy blues and gory reds, that he ordered a contest across his realm.
Fantastic! You there! You don't look like someone who's ever been serenaded by a severed head! Step right up!
My word!
Fantastic!
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Oh, excuse me, I'm trying to prepare for the next show. Autographs will have to wait until the end. I doubt I have to tell you that I am the amazing singing Stefan, the only sentient severed head in Sicile. My you're a source hunter, aren't you? Oh, bless the seven. Oh, you've got to help me. I've been kidnapped. Pleasure to meet you. Now, please, Stefan has many fans to meet today. Psst, now help me. Take me to Reginald's cellar. There I will reveal everything.
Bravo! Bravo! My word! My word!
Ha!
It won't be the worst indignation I've suffered. Get on with it then.
What do you think you are doing? You there! Take a seat! Prepare to laugh your head off, cry your eyes out, and teeter on the edge of your seat with an original tale from Stefan. I am Reginald the Illusionist, purveyor of the most amazing artifact in Andevale. This fantastical talking head. Catch the act while you can. This show will only remain in Sicil as long as there are Legion soldiers to entertain. I think you've gotten quite familiar enough by now, thanks. Keep your paws in your pockets, if you please.
Fantastic!
Ah! Hard times, Lord Pinchpenny?
My word!
A talking head? What dark sorcery is this?
Oh, a strange fellow, isn't he? Hello, little friend. Oh, don't be afraid. What's your name?
Zombie ate your dog? Orc sunk your ship? No matter. You're at Katerina's Fair, a veritable summer home for troubled minds. Won't you take a seat and let our esteemed entertainers whisk you off to a better place? Well, I'm Katerina the Fair, fairest first lady of the fair, of course. I do love making the acquaintance of my patrons, and who knows which of them might become one of my performers. I've an open stage in want of talent, and I've often found the best young performers among the rank and file of the audience.
Across his realm.
Fantastic!
The theatre's fever has overcome you, has it? Marvellous! I do so love a fresh green talent ready to bloom. But I support players, not writers, you see. If you want to perform here, you'll have to find tried and true material. Check the library and see if any of the classics there interest you. I'd love to see a Source Hunter's take on one of the old standards. Right away, my dear, just as fast as your boots can carry you. You've found something decent to perform, I trust, and you've gathered enough actors to do it justice? Speak to Master Chaucer if you're ready for your debut. He alone can adequately prepare you for the stage.
My word!
Come on! Come on! Can't you hear the stage calling you? And who are you? Oh, I should have been one of the greats. But here I am gathering peasants to watch peasants perform broadside pageants for peanuts. No, really? I hadn't noticed. If not for this ridiculous condition, you'd know me as the King's. Don't you have an impressive library here in Sicil? I'm sure that beast of a librarian could rustle something up for you. Katerina's given the go-ahead, has she? Oh, very well then. Tell me when you're ready to begin, and I'll show you to your places and gather you whatever crowd of drunken yokels can be ready for your trial by fire, you mean? There's no more savage foe than an audience, my dear. But I'm sure you'll do. You there! Sit! Stay a while. Right in front. I'll excite you. I'll delight you. I'll beguile you. Don't pity me. No, sir. Just a few years ago, I was the all-singing, all-dancing, all-sensational darling of the town. People came from far and wide just to witness my amazing act. When Reginald came, he brought some fantastic prop with him. Now, have you seen it? A talking head! Now, I never expected a silly gimmick like that to be my main competition. It seems even my usually choosy audience has been taken in by that hack's little gizmo. I'm a man of skill, sleight of hand, feats of wit, and pure entertainment. This curio is ruining what used to be an art. And even when there's no crowd to speak of, old Reggie still has at least one fan calling bravo and hee-haw. Sure as the sun sets, that one devotee attracts 5 more, and those 5 more all curious about the commotion. Showman, show all of them. Cecil, what I don't know how he inspires such loyalty with...
I'll figure out who murdered Jake before the day's through. Just you wait. Detective Kip is on the case.
Can you spare a coin?
Come on! Can't you hear the stage calling you? Come on! Come on! Can't you hear the stage calling you? You there! You look like an actor just waiting for his big debut.
Ah, cruel fortune. Can you spare a coin? One coin or 2, noble spirit? One coin? Oh, I am a happy man, and certainly a humble one now. It turns out losing it all has its own share of benefits. Ah, a fool once was I, and ever seeking greater satisfaction than that which I already enjoyed. In my folly, I sought the counsel of those notorious Watcher statues on the western cliffs. Their guidance ruined any small fortune I might have had, but certainly granted me humility. I'd heard they were not to be trusted, that they gave fools' advice to the fools who sought them, but somehow I believed that I was the exception. They told me that I would find fame and renown if I renounced my worldly possessions, all my worldly possessions, and became a great figure of piety and humility. Fire, the most thorough cleanser, was my method. But as my house burned in front of me, I felt no elevation, no piety, only the sudden weight of my own idiocy upon my very soul. Thank you, kind one.
So, those statues told him he'd have to renounce his earthly possessions to become a spiritual leader, did they?
Ah, cruel fortune.
Absurd. Since when is poverty a prerequisite of spirituality?
Can you spare a coin?
Some of the richest people in the world are also some of the most miserable. Gold can purchase many things, but neither joy nor wisdom are among them.
Can you spare a coin?
Recruits! That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again! Those boots would embarrass a bridge crew. Get the shining recruits.
Sorry, sir.
Greetings! These stalls are for our Legion troops. Source Hunters here too? Well, if the Legion couldn't save the...
Aside! Step aside! This maniac's gonna turn me into a meat pie!
Isn't it a...
True story indeed. Perhaps...
No! My neck's too graceful to be hacked in half! I thought I could trust you!
I need a moment to reflect. The heart has no true place in cold, hard decision-making, I say.
what some call heartlessness, I...
That was close. Thanks for catching Fidgety Jack here. I guess he got nervous when I mentioned drumsticks. Let's have that bird then, shall we? Our troops are mighty hungry.
Have you met the archaeologist? He knows all about the mysterious
Well, Source Hunter.
These stalls are for our Legion troops. Riverland's finest work up mighty fine appetite serving the seven.
I can't even smell the sea air over this rot.
Well, what does it matter? Day labour's more suited to my nature anyhow.
Well, a source hunter. A very hearty welcome to our humble warehouse.
Have a look around. And don't mind if I pick your brain about the scoop around Undervale. I tell you, this gig sure beats getting my toes bitten off by zombies out in the field. We warehouse guards don't have to do much apart from stroll the perimeter a few times an hour. And, of course, every now and again, some friendly folks, like yourself, will wander through here. And nothing beats a pleasant conversation, though my comrade Horatius has quite different opinions on that matter. Have you talked to him? Thinks every man, woman and child who steps foot in this place wants to rob it blind. If I so much as greet a townsperson with a hello instead of a state your purpose, he starts frothing on and on about guardly duty and security breaches. This Jake business is quite the scandal, no? I myself suspect his wife Esmeralda, and the butcher seconds that, let me tell you.
One day you'll show 'em all.
Then again, and you didn't hear this from me, he's going through quite the nasty divorce himself, and there's his children to consider. But I imagine his youngest, Kimberly, won't mind. Never did get on well with her mother ever since the incident. Oh, it's an unparalleled pleasure having a fresh ear around here. Back again? Got any juicy stories for eager ears,
Salutations! Source Hunter. Courteous is my name. The Legion is my call. This is a storing house for Legion supplies. Perhaps the most important building in the realm, by my and others' estimation.
If I could do it in peace.
Just making conversation, mate.
Mate, he says. We are colleagues, nothing more.
Come now, it's just a turn of phrase.
Will you please turn...
Well, a source hunter. About time the council took us seriously. Maybe you can start with the two idiots hiding their pet orc here.
Out of a back-page circular from Youthful Gore. Who better than a proven orc crusher to convince my dumbbell of a friend here that orcs are predators, not pets?
Enough of that. I know how dangerous an orc can be, but this one has been reformed. Anyone can see that she's completely docile, but my prejudiced friend here still wants to kill her.
Maybe before the Great Orc Raid we had time to indulge Ninius's idiotic obsessions. But now we're needed at our posts. I can hardly believe I've been wasting time protecting an orc when I should be running them through.
Excuse my friend's violent outbursts. He hasn't enjoyed a woman's touch in quite some time now. It makes him a bit edgy.
Your woman's touch is less of a loving caress and more of a claw shanked brutally through the throat. I'll take my chances as a bachelor, thanks.
My friend here and I were patrolling outside the city walls, when who did I see creeping along the shore but this lovely orcish lady? For a brief second, as long as eternity, we locked eyes. Perhaps confused by the butterflies in her stomach, she sprang up and began running, claws bared towards Marius. Fortunately for him, I had the presence of mind to ignore my sword and instead adroitly fling my pouch of trinkets towards her. A vial of love potion shattered over her head, and when she turned to face me, she became instantly enamored.
This place reeks of orc stench.
I'm sure she must have been compelled to join the Orcish army under some kind of duress. A lady with such a sweetly savage manner would never willingly join up with those vicious marauders.
Ha! I can assure you there wasn't a hint of sweetness in those murderous eyes when she lunged at my throat. She may be confined here for now, but who's telling when she'll escape and who she'll rip to shreds?
Ah, I've always had an amateur interest in all things alchemical. When I read in an esteemed periodical from the Wizards of Youthful Gore about an amazing opportunity that could change my life, I had to act fast or lose the once-in-a-lifetime deal. I sent away for the world-famous love potion, available for a limited time only, and it has worked exactly as promised.
You see what a fool my friend has been, spending all his cash on snake oil and bringing a temporarily tranquilized monster into our midst to boot.
What kind of monster would lie in a published advertisement?
You see, he'd believe it was noon at midnight if he read it on a printed pamphlet. Please tell me you can reason with him, or ditch reason and use your sword to
Let her live. If that potion were truly worthless, it wouldn't have been able to charm her in the first place. In this docile state, she may prove to be a source of valuable information.
You're right. The information she provides could well turn the tides here in...
Bravo! I trust not only the potion, but my scaly sweetheart in...
You're going to regret this. We're all going to regret this.
A man in love with an orc? Blummin' bullfrogs. Is he blind, stupid, or both? Imagine the hell-sent mongrel that'll crawl forth from that union. Why didn't you put her down while you had the chance?
Come now, enough doom and gloom. Cast your gaze instead upon my fair, fanged filly.
Avert your gaze, and I'll handle this threat for all our sakes.
She wouldn't hurt a fly, and I won't let you hurt a horn on her head.
Bringing your little orcish girlfriend here is like bringing a wolf to a hen house.
Nonsense. Listen. She's purring, the darling.
What fool would trust a two-bit love potion out of a back-page circular from Youthful Gore?
That's exactly it. You lot can go on about love all you want, but my opposition is based on one fundamental principle. An orc is incapable of love. Let the elves mix with the imps and the dwarves with undead for all I care. But keep those blasted orcs out of the equation. Now don't get me wrong. If I'd seen evidence, any indication at all, that an orc were more than either a bloodthirsty hellhound or a bloodthirsty hellhound in a clever disguise, I'd be the first in line to bless any such mixed-up union.
Flesh from our faces.
Come now.
Plenty of fish in the sea, but I've got the foulest of the lot on my racks. I can't even smell the sea air over this rock.
Halibut, sheep's cheese, tomatoes. That thief is free for now, but I wonder how long it'll be until his growling belly seduces him back onto the crooked path. Thank you for making that would-be thief see reason. I only hope your instruction lasts. The last thing the plagued people of Sicily...
Don't scuttle away before you've tried some of the oceans. I listened in while you were talking to that...
Whatever happened to that troop of eager imbeciles we sent to the northern cave?
Do I seem like the sort who concerns myself with such things?
You'll be concerned enough when you realize that reward money won't be lining your pockets.
My name, the Gale Wall Hunt. I have tracked her. Yes, her name, Victor.
Rawr! That is, how can I help you, my friend?
By the filed teeth of Sulumar Soul Shredder, the end is nigh. Death comes a-creeping for you!
That was quite the radical change we witnessed. I never would have thought that the benign old man we met outside would turn out to be a vengeance-driven aficionado of assassins.
He is as much a savage as those orcs. And how is Victoria guilty of her tribe's crime if she was but a babe at the time?
Beaten like the anvil of Grog, the torturer.
Indeed.
All hail his hot-steeled instruments.
With many cheeses.
Fresh haddock, perfect for a fry-up.
Not in the mood for cheese. That excuse has more holes than a slice of this fine Gorman bear.
What? Oh, it's you. Come closer then. Closer? My ears aren't what they used to be. Nor my eyes, for that matter. Yes, hello, Source Hunter. Our city welcomes you. My elf? What elf? Oh, myself. I am Cecil, Mayor of Sicil, and husband of the stately Cecilia. I've been the mayor here for decades, and I'm quite eager to see Sicil through these difficult times. Yes, very difficult times indeed. What? Oh, you mean Sicil? Very difficult times indeed. As though the death of Jacon by source magic no less weren't enough. We're also facing all sorts of brutish intruders. The undead have overrun all but one northern trade route, while the orcs are making a habit of savaging our beaches. That's not to mention that at the top of this whole caboodle, there's rumors of some new religious sect or cult or some such sticking its tendrils into the innocent, seven-fearing folks of Sicil. And, while we're on the subject of troubles, I myself have a private matter I'd like to bring to your attention. It involves a magic relic I rather foolishly sought, a weapon called the Staff of Pergamon. Jake murdered? Oh, yes. Yes, now I recall. Indeed. I could hardly believe it myself. The Council and I have certainly had our differences over the years, but old squabbles evaporate under such circumstances. Most of the townsfolk are certain Jake's wife Esmeralda is responsible. In fact, the Legion have taken her into protective custody to keep her safe from the mob. As you can imagine, I've known Esmeralda for years. That business between her and the Duke of Ferrol was always a bit, suggestive. But I've never had cause to suspect her of violence. Still, one never knows for sure. An all-right bloke, apart from all this Esmeralda nonsense. The whole town knows the only goal of his business trips to Sicil is to spend a night or two at the King Crab Inn with Mrs. Counselor. What? The undead? Yes, for the past 2 years those blasted skeletons have all but suffocated this city. With all but one trade route overrun, Sicil's once torrential commerce has slowed to a pathetic trickle. What of what now? Oh, you're speaking gibberish. Ah, you mean the Staff of Pergamon. Yes, yes. I was expecting a shipment of weapons, and among the cargo was this very powerful, very rare staff. I managed to place the order through means somewhat, atypical to a government official. Cecil proved an old fool, though, for the merchant slated to deliver it to me has just informed me that the damn thing has gone missing. I fear it may have fallen into the wrong hands, and I wonder if you could retrieve it for me. His name is Conrad, captain of the Tide Splitter, a merchant ship still docked at the Sicil harbor. You can talk to him if you think it'd help, but I'd quite like to avoid getting the Legion involved, if you don't mind. The staff itself contains a shard of an ore, highly valued for its use in the weapons of war. I know use of the material to be forbidden, but I was desperate to do something to aid the townsfolk against the undead. Well, I do believe that's something your parents ought to have discussed with you long ago, Source Hunter. But I suppose if you really don't know, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least explain the basics. Ah, you see, when a lady and a fellow find each other rather nice, well, rather more than nice, they are... Oh, this is nonsense. I'm the mayor for the 7th sake. I can't be bothered to chat all day about the birds and the bees when Sicil's under siege by orcs, undead, and cultists. That depends. What kind of berries are you interested in, exactly? Ah, the library. Yes, yes, you must have a visit. It's the gem of Sicil. Would you like to have a look? I'll escort you upstairs myself. Marvelous. Follow me, then.
I knew that dark-dealing old man dabbled in source. To the gallows, I say.
The gallows? Well, I've heard of such a thing, but I've never seen one myself.
Golly gosh! One who flaunts the highways and byways of silly old Sicil with the easy elegance of a puss with her tail in the air. I do declare such a sight is rather rare around here. But where are my manners? I am Maxine. I'm the mayor's cat, don't you know? Born and raised on velvets and viands of most exquisite varieties. Maxine rhymes with queen, after all, and dearest. That is hardly a coincidence. Oh, he's a darling old Tom, isn't he? Paws over tails in love with me, and who can blame him? The feeling's, well, it's rather mutual, actually. But that pet of a puss simply doesn't have a penny to his name. At the risk of sounding as shallow as a spaniel, I can't but admit my love does not come unconditionally. What if we were to have kittens, he and I? They'd jolly well starve, wouldn't they, with an alley cat for a papa? Oh, dear Sam, he's such a good old bean. But he does rather reside at the bottom of the scratching pole, doesn't he? And dear me, one must have at least a mite of standards. But of course, darling. Oh, this quaint little town is a tad too parochial for one of my more urbane tastes. But one has to make do, hasn't one? The fresh sea air does go to great lengths to invigorate one's spirit, that much I'll admit. And it is rather jolly to watch the ships sail in laden with all kinds of exotic wares, full of the little treats the mayor likes to spoil me with. Darling man, he dotes on me so. Heavens forbid! No, fear is rather too strong a term there, Hunter dearest. The predator's instinct is a trait we share, you and I. And though those rancid ramblers may not be quite as easy to put to the claw as mice are, I assure you they are just as easily outwitted.
What? Oh, yes. This library is the jewel in Sicil's crown. The beacon of culture and learning in our fair... My Victoria has every volume you could possibly imagine, and she's got every speck of information about this place packed into her brilliant brain. Yes, Victoria's come a long way from that little bundle of claws and teeth I adopted so long ago. Ah, it brings a tear to my eye just seeing her here among her beloved books. What? Oh, yes, yes. I'll be on my way back downstairs now. Please introduce yourself. I know Victoria will be happy to make your acquaintance.
Does have a propensity for all things naughty, hasn't she?
No, this isn't the grimoire I'm looking for. Omnes autem mali daemonis quam. What? What is this? Who are you to interrupt my musings? By Naga the Protector, they have the manners of boors, these boatmen of Sicil. Oh, but perhaps I spoke too soon. Perhaps I was mistaken, for you hardly resemble the local fisherfolk, which, incidentally, is a compliment of copious dimensions indeed. No, a source hunter, that is what you are. Yes, a stalker of sorcery, a chaser of charms pernicious. In truth, I cannot go so far as to say it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, for I take no pleasure in the company of man. But it may just be to our mutual advantage to join forces nonetheless.
Volume 1, Volume 2...
I would tell you my reasons, but it seems rather pointless to do so, seeing that quite clearly there is no room left in your band of adventurers for an additional champion. A pity, really.
In the name of Amun-Hor, I bid thee Tujda Geta Hal, be welcome, human. My library is yours, as I hope your friendship is mine. I am Victoria, daughter of Mayor Cecil. Oh, I know what you're thinking. The likeness isn't exactly striking, is it? When I was very young, you see, I must have been cast out by my tribe, for I was found in a wicker basket floating past Sicil toward the sea.
The Encyclopedia...
The fisherman who found me would have drowned me on the spot, for I am an orc after all. But praise be Amun-Hor, dear Cecil was among the gathered crowd, and he took pity on the exiled infant that chance had put in his way.
Demonology for dumbbells. Ugh.
He raised me like I was his own, this kindest of souls. Taught me the language of men, their customs and their letters. Thus, I became the city's librarian, a position I uphold with no small diligence and pride.
This isn't the
Indeed you may. The wisdom I here hoard is yours to peruse and even take with you. All I can ask is that you return the books you borrow so that others may enjoy them too. Kira Lizor. Oh, do pardon my language, my friend. But that is quite the startling revelation. So much sadness, so much anguish. Eglandir's tale is heartrending, though it seems that in the pursuit of retribution, he has himself become as great a ghoul as those that wronged him. Does he not see that I am now the one who is to be wronged? Why, oh why must he make me, of all gentle-minded and life-loving creatures, why must he make me the target of his imperishable hate? Whom have I ever harmed? I live for books, not brutality.
The lesser key of...
Let us approach the situation with reason and ask ourselves, where do we go from here? Though, first let me say this. Hashizm bil kushum zunum. From my heart, I thank you for warning me. I thank you and I trust you. So pray, let me pose the question. What do you advise we should do?
Key of Sadakandras. Ugh, what nonsense. The Pseudomonarchia Daemon.
My amulet? But it is Haxmagi, a sacred token that houses the presence of my ancestors. No, I cannot part with my talisman, the keepsake of my soul.
The lesser key of Sadakandras. Ugh, what nonsense. The Pseudomonarchia Daemonum. And the first edition too. Most promising. Demonology for dumbbells. Ugh, I need something more advanced. The Encyclopedia Daemonium. I know it by heart. No, this isn't the grimoire I'm looking for. The Pseudomonarchia Daemonum. And the first edition too. Most promising. No, this isn't the grimoire I'm looking for. The Encyclopedia Daemonium. I know it by heart.
When you put it like that, I guess I cannot say that it is. I do this very reluctantly, but fine. Have my talisman. May it fool the elf that would see me dead.
This library.
The knight in see-through armor? Princess Buttercup with the blushing bottom?
The lesser key of Sadakandras.
Esmeralda does have a propensity for all things naughty, hasn't she?
Daemonum. And the first edition too. Most promising. Demonology for dumbbells. Ugh. I need something more advanced.
Brief history of sorcery still hasn't been returned. Teleron will have to pay yet another fine.
Most promising.
The knight in see-through armor? Princess Buttercup with the blushing bottom?
Lucky find!
Esmeralda does have a propensity for all things naughty,
The
hasn't she?
Encyclopedia Daemonium. I know it by heart.
Ooh! A brief history of sorcery still hasn't been returned. Teleron will have to pay yet another fine.
Demonology for dumbbells. Ugh. I need something more advanced. The Pseudomonarchia Daemonum. And the first edition too. Most promising.
The knight in see-through armor? Princess Buttercup with the blushing
this isn't the grimoire I'm looking for.
Esmeralda
Is there no
does have
new
a
book
propensity
to be
for all
discovered in
things
this
naughty,
library?
hasn't she?
No, this isn't the grimoire I'm looking for. The Pseudomonarchia Daemonum. And the first edition too. Most promising.
Place this book here. A volume of poetry among novels? Oh, rack! What mayhem!
No, this isn't the grimoire I'm looking for. Is there no new book to be discovered in this library?
Who placed this book here? A volume of poetry among novels? Oh, rack! What mayhem!
No, this isn't the grimoire I'm looking for. Is there no new book to be discovered in this library?
Volume 1, Volume 2. But where has the third one gone? Shatsu. Sometimes I think these books sprout little legs in the night.
Demonology for dumbbells. Ugh. I need something more advanced. Is there no new book to be discovered in this library?
The knight in see-through armor? Princess Buttercup with the blushing
this
bottom?
isn't the grimoire I'm looking for. Is
Esmeralda
there no
does have
new
a
book to
propensity
be
for all
discovered in
things
this
naughty,
library?
hasn't she? Kaj'Dinor. A brief history of
The
sorcery
lesser
still
key
hasn't
of
been returned.
Sadakandras.
Teleron will have to pay
What
yet
nonsense.
another fine.
The Pseudomonarchia Daemonum. And the first edition too. Most promising.
Who placed this book here? A volume of poetry among novels? Oh, rack! What mayhem!
No, this isn't the grimoire I'm looking for. The Pseudomonarchia Daemonum. And the first edition too. Most promising.
The knight in see-through armor? Princess Buttercup with the blushing bottom?
No, this isn't the grimoire I'm looking
Esmeralda
for.
does have a propensity for all things
The
naughty,
Encyclopedia
hasn't she?
Daemonium. I know it by heart.
Kaj'Dinor. A brief history of sorcery still hasn't been returned. Teleron will have to pay
No,
yet another
this
fine.
isn't the grimoire I'm looking for. The Encyclopedia Daemonium. I know it by heart.
Kaj'Dinor. A brief history of sorcery still hasn't been returned. Teleron will have to pay yet another fine.
The lesser key of Sadakandras. Ugh, what nonsense. The Pseudomonarchia
book here?
Daemonum.
A volume
And the
of
first
poetry
edition
among
too.
novels?
Most
Oh, rack.
promising.
What mayhem! Kaj'Dinor. A brief history of sorcery
The
still
lesser
hasn't
key
been
of
returned.
Sadakandras.
Teleron will have to
Ugh,
pay yet
what
another
nonsense.
fine.
Is there no new book to be discovered in this library?
Kaj'Dinor. A brief history of sorcery still hasn't been returned. Teleron will have to pay yet another fine.
No, this isn't the grimoire I'm looking for. The Pseudomonarchia Daemonum. And the first edition too. Most promising.
Volume 1, Volume
No,
2.
this isn't the
Where's the
grimoire I'm
third
looking
one
for.
gone?
The Pseudomonarchia Daemonum.
Sometimes I think these
And
books
the
sprout
first
little legs in
edition
the night.
too. Most promising. The The Lesser Key of Sadakandras. Ugh, what nonsense.
The knight in the see-through armor.
The Encyclopedia
Princess Buttercup
Daemonium.
with the blushing
I know it by heart.
Esmeralda does have a propensity for all things naughty, hasn't she?
The Lesser Key of Sadakandras. Ugh, what nonsense. The Pseudomonarchia Daemonum. And the first edition, too. Most promising.
Kejdenor. The brief history of sorcery still hasn't been returned. Teleron will have to pay yet another fine.
Demonology for dumbbells. Ugh. I need something more advanced. Is there no
The
new
knight in
book to be
see-through
discovered in
armor.
this library?
Princess Buttercup with the blushing bottom. Stentiken. Esmeralda does have a propensity for all things naughty, hasn't she?
The Lesser Key of Sadakandras. Ugh, what nonsense. Is there no new book to be discovered in this library?
Who placed this book here? A volume of poetry among novels? Urak.
No,
mayhem.
this isn't the grimoire I'm looking for. Is there no new book to be discovered in this library?
Kejdenor. The brief history of sorcery still hasn't been returned. Teleron will have to pay yet another fine.
Demonology for dumbbells. Ugh. I need something more advanced. Is there no new
Who
book
placed
to
this
be
book here?
discovered in this
A
library?
volume of poetry among novels? Urak. Mayhem.
Big cheese on your block with a wheel of the good stuff.
Come now, Alistair. Surely you've met your match once or twice.
Ha! The closest I've come to my match is when I linger over long while
Where's young Esmeralda these days? She has the softest lap to lay in. So there's the rub. I am but a stray, and she is the mayor's cat. Oh, I do understand her, I do. She wants a Tom of means, not privation. One who brings home the sardines and the occasional halibut. Would that I still had my collar. Such a marvel it was, as bejeweled as the night sky with precious stones, said to have once been worn by a far-off Maharaja's best hunting cheater. Like the king of all cats I looked when I wore it. A gift bestowed upon me by a princess whom I had kept company during a long and perilous voyage. A precious band of gemstones, lost as I was tossed around by the waves like a ball in a game of catch. Among the waves it remains, I imagine. Worn perhaps by a crab who fancies himself a Caesar with it. If only I could be the Caesar again, and Maxine my Caesarina.
Have you ever had the fortune of challenging the fabled wizard of Hunter's Edge?
Fortune? Ha! He should be so lucky as to be defeated by Alistair the Great!
They say he's privy to ancient and arcane secrets, the likes of which I doubt you can even fathom.
Here I wait for thee in the dark. But the stab shall bring the light. Minister to death, yes, yes. Have you made the orc feel the black and biting cold center toward the gangling grip of the...
Yes, so it is. So it is.
By Angus, the Impaler's favourite steak, you've done well by me. Oh, Ravager of Gazaldagar, the last of their line is dead. The House of Gandavon has been avenged. Sweet flowing blood. The quest of decay is at an end. My wealth is yours. My life is death's. By the hollow sockets of the Voidwood Eye Gouger, I bid thee thanks and fond farewell.
Move along.
How gratifying to see you return. You are quickly becoming my favorite customer.
as many friends as the man with many cheeses.
Red and orange, yellow and green, the finest veggies Sicil's ever seen.
Let's see. Halibut, sheep's cheese, tomatoes.